Hello, everybody. Scott Golden with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel here. We continue the World Class Championship Wrestling YouTube review series. We move into February of 1983. In this particular occasion, we move into February 5th of 83. February 5th is the last of the sequential shows. We jump over to the 26th, so there's a couple weeks missing in there. Not sure if the tapes got damaged or if they didn't air or what the challenge is there. But there is a challenge related to the programs. It's not that we've forgotten them. It's that unless I find them elsewhere, they do not exist on the network. Anyway, so we do move into February 5th, and this is a more eventful program than average, as we do have a America's Heavyweight Championship match between Terry Gordy and Kevin Von Erich on top here. We've also got some other interesting things along the way. We open with Checkmate, who is still seconded by Arman Hussein from their H&H days. And he is facing off against David Von Erich. Interesting to me that David is kind of relegated to first match fodder here. Not that there's anything wrong with that, and everybody needs to, come up and down the card, but surprising that David, probably one of, if not the most marketable Von Erich, and one of, if not the most marketable guys in Texas, is on an opening match on a TV show less than 2 months after the bigger issues with his brother in the cage with Flair and all that. I just would imagine he'd be higher on the card. Match is relatively simple. David dominant for quite a while. Big back body drop at a midpoint in the match, but the Checkmate able to maintain his balance, land on his feet. He bails out, goes to the floor. Checkmate really has been protected well as a wrestler's wrestler, so to speak. Works over the leg of Von Erich quite a bit. Just a grapevine basic submission holds, maybe going for, although he doesn't fully hit, an Indian deathlock. But it's clear that Checkmate is a guy that they still are trying to protect. We do see Kevin pick up the victory in reasonable fashion. But I mean, he even hits a Harley Race high knee before picking up that victory. David. It's so used to seeing Kevin, but David hits the high knee and does go for the sleeper hold. What's weird is it's almost like he loses concept of that being what he's going for, because he throws it like a clothesline and then hooks the sleeper in. The referee does call the match eventually. Hussein on the outside, not very happy with things. Hussein does come in, and the referee calls the match right at that point, and David up and ready to go. But obviously, pretty decisive win for David Von Erich here. Then we see just a really bizarre interview with the Freebirds. Freebirds are getting fast food or have gotten fast food. The interviewer is trying to interview them, and they don't really want to talk. They're dodging his questions. They're making him eat fast food outside of the vehicle. It's clear the Freebirds are brushing him off, but he's still trying to do his job anyway. I don't necessarily agree with the way the Freebirds are interviewed, some of these vignette-style segments, especially for 1982. That just seems bizarre. We go to Brian Diaz and Tora Yatsu. Yatsu in his, what I believe is second match in the promotion. Diaz obviously, close to entering that second year, and still has the flexibility of being a friend of the Von Erichs to consider. Yatsu, obviously, this match is intended to be a showcase, and he's very deliberate with his strikes and such. Kicks to the face and all that. Then we see Yatsu trying to break the match down into a more submission-based style, but he goes back to the strikes when the submission style isn't working to his liking, even kind of a modified Polish hammer type maneuver to the lower rib cage, and a falling power slam by Yatsu. Again, that power slam, one of his better maneuvers, and it is clear that they intend to do something with him. Although what exactly that is, we don't know. For the second week in a row, he wins with the modified sleeper cobra clutch combination, and then we move on to a interview with Kevin Von Erich discussing his title defense of the American title against Terry Gordy, and he obviously says that he wants to avenge his brother and his family. He fights for his family. He fights for their right to be, the best family, and his brothers will be watching his back. So Kevin certainly is ready, and we go. They're given, I don't know, I'd say about 12 to 14 minutes for the America's Heavyweight Championship match. Match starts relatively slowly, but picks up pace and intensity quickly. Definitely worth going out of your way to see if you are a Gordy or Von Erich's fan. Obviously, because it's a singles title win for Gordy, but also just the pacing and the storytelling of this. Gordy routinely bails to the outside, doesn't want to get into it with Kevin unless he absolutely has to. Kevin breaks the match down into just wrestling and side headlocks and advantages that way, and really does everything he can do to keep the match going in his direction for as long as he can. Several times Gordy bails to the outside or is struck to the point where he goes to the outside. I would say Kevin dominates the majority of the contest, which is surprising for Gordy being so much larger. Gordy does, however, use things like a stun gun across the ropes and other heelish tactics to maintain his control and keep his heat. Gordy also is not afraid to lay on his opponent a little bit, and he does that with a reverse headlock or reverse chin lock toward the end of the match. They are clearly, trying to pace this out to be something. There is a couple times where the referee checks the alertness of Von Erich, and Von Erich does stay in the match, although not as vehemently maybe as the ref would like. There's a spot where Gordy goes to do the tip up of the, up and over to put extra oomph behind the headlock, but instead does a full headstand, goes all the way over, and Buddy Roberts makes his way to the outside of the ringside area. The match has not ended yet. I think Michael Hayes makes his way out too. One of the Von Erichs, David Von Erich, is out there too, so it's kind of, everybody, the referee losing control of the match. It's kind of a difficult thing with not very long to remain. The sleeper hold, though, is a big deal. Michael Hayes makes his way out. Hayes is cheering on Gordy, as is to be expected. Hayes, the most vocal of the Freebirds, known for his talking ability, and it shines through here. Many people, certainly in Texas at the time, saw the Von Erichs as infallible. So even that Gordy could hang this long with Kevin Von Erich in a one-on-one scenario, probably a big deal there. And Kevin does get free of the sleeper, places the claw on Gordy. Gordy does not go down. They time this really well. Yeah. as Kevin is sent into Buddy Roberts. The referee checking on Roberts, and then Kevin tries to body slam or power slam Terry Gordy. Michael Hayes comes in, pulls the foot, and Gordy gets a 3 count and becomes your America's champion just by the small interference from Michael Hayes. And then he does a post-match interview about wanting to be not only the America's champion and taking over there, but he also wants to be the World Heavyweight Champion, and there's talk of him fighting Flair down the road. So that will close out the February 5th edition of World Class 1983. But stay with us. We've got more coming for you. Stay right there.